So let's see how to create a control net from scratch inside of Stable Diffusion 1.5. So we've got loading up here the Dreamshaper 7 checkpoint, and we've got a Mayan or Aztec pyramid in overground jungle sunset. It's going to be a 512 by 512 image, and the rest of it you can see here. Now what we'll do is to apply the control net. So we need to first of all input an image. So we'll say add loader, and we need to get an image. Okay, let's try to double click. And we can choose load image, and that's fine. So we'll need to change this. So I'll just make sure I locate the right directory. So we'll bring in our Aztec temple, and this is going to then need to be processed by a preprocessor. So we'll just go ahead and open up a preprocessor. And if we go to preprocessors, you can see we've got a number of maps there. We'll choose LesRes depth map. And from the depth map, we can go straight to we can output to an image. So we can say image preview or preview image, and we can bring that down here. Make that about the same size as the original image. And then we need to connect this to the control net. So we'll grab this and bring it out here. And it's going to be a little bit difficult maybe to find the control net. So what we'll do is double click and choose control net. Control net apply. We'll go ahead and drag the image to the image there. And we can go ahead and apply the conditioning. Now we'll pause that for a second. What I want to do is to load the control net. So we need a load control net option. Let me just move this up there for the time being. Load control net model. So there's two options: load control net model and load control net model diff, which sometimes is needed. We'll go for the load control model. And because we need the depth one, we'll go ahead and choose depth. I'll just move these out of the way. And we can bring this guy here. So we can now go ahead and just connect up this guy with this guy. Now if we run this, what will happen is that we should get the depth map showing up here. And maybe you can see the way that the things are connected a little bit easier now. But we're still not getting the thing applied according to the control. It's pretty good, but we're not getting it applied according to the control net. So what we'll do is go ahead and take the apply control net, and first of all, I think we'll link the text and then link the out text to the positive, and then we'll try again. So it turns out I was accidentally applying the control LoRa rather than control net. So we'll choose the depth control net, and I think it's this one. No, I want to go for the full one. So we'll go for this guy here, SD15 depth. Now this should work. Let's run that. And it seems to be going through. Now it's going to be using this particular image to make the image here, and we've got a strength of 1, and I haven't altered the depth map at all, so that's something that I could play around with to see how different it could be. Now you can see that the result is, broadly speaking, as we would want. Maybe I can make that a little bit brighter. Let's make that afternoon. Awesome. So you can see that that's the result we got there, and the resemblance is pretty clear between the original, the depth map, and the outcome here. So that's how you would go about doing it from scratch. Guys, I will share this with you for this tutorial. This will be a resource, and I think this could perhaps be something you maybe go ahead and refer to if you need to set up more control nets. It's a fairly straightforward process, and the main thing is just to make sure you get the control net correct. Otherwise you'll get that weird error message coming up. Now the other thing is the prompt plays a really significant role. So if we were to change this to maybe we could put in tourists. National Geographic, photography. The other thing you'll see is just how quick it is when using Comfy UI. It is so quick to complete everything. Okay, we haven't got the tourist, but maybe that's a good thing. So we've got our overgrown jungle and something of a little bit photographic, maybe a little bit more work to do to get it to be fully photographic, but you can see how easy it is to create a control net and to use that for your Comfy UI exploits. Now there are so many other control nets, it's generally relatively easy to find which one goes with which other processor. So obviously when you are working like this, you are going to need to figure out which processor to use. We could, for instance, there's no way of changing these once they're in place, so we could double click depth, and we could try the Zoe map processor, see if that works. So basically using a little bit of intelligent guesswork. And making sure everything is connected. So let's connect that up. So that one just froze without any kind of error message. So we go to view queue, we try to cancel that one. And if the cancel doesn't work, we will stop the software running in the background using the command prompt. So I went ahead and replaced it using the Midas depth map. Let's connect that one finally to the control map. So that was obviously not working, and intelligent guesswork will get you so far with these control nets, but it's not 100% perfect. Let's see if we can get this connected. And sometimes it won't cancel, and that can be a real pain. Sometimes what I will do when I'm having trouble getting it to cancel, I'll hit Control A on the keyboard to select everything, and then Control M to just pause everything. What that does sometimes, it will interrupt the flow, but this only really works to interrupt it if something is flowing, if it's actually moving forward in a positive way. So what I'm going to do instead is to, I'm going to hit Control M again to reestablish everything. That Control M just deactivates everything. Anything you've got selected gets deactivated, and Control M will reactivate it again. Clicking away will get rid of the selection. So when you've got these sorts of problems, opening up the queue, just going to the queue, the view queue, hitting cancel, sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't work. That's a real quirk inside of Comfy UI. And in that situation, you'd have to stop it outside using the, which I hate to do, using the command prompt. So what I would do in this situation, if I can't get it to work, I'll stop it outside and then restart, and then we'll try to see if it works with the Midas one. And we obviously lose our history every time we restart the command prompt, and that's a bit of a pain, but it remembered where we were, so we can now try to run the software again, and it seems to have worked. So this one here works a little bit differently from the other one, but both of these ones will work as preprocessors. And also remember, you can bring in your own image, so you can bring in your own depth maps as well. So one possibility will be to create a depth map in software like Dimension, Adobe Dimension, for instance. So here I've brought in an image from Adobe Dimension. It's a depth map from Adobe Dimension. We won't need this processor here for this particular edit, so we can just connect this straight to the ControlNet, and we could then try to see what happens if we apply this ControlNet, this depth map with this particular prompt. See if it does anything interesting. It's actually processed it, but it's not going to actually use this pre-processed image. But we might actually use this pre-processed image because I think that looks better than this guy here. So there you've got some letters that spell out a certain word being used as a kind of a pyramidical form. I'm going to just go ahead and we'll actually go ahead and connect from here again, because I think the pre-processor did a really, really good job. Let's go ahead and try to bring a bit more light here. And using the pre-processed image this time, you can see it's very, very fast inside of Comfy UI. That there's no real serious delay. This is an amount of 20 that we're using for the steps, and it gets done pretty quickly. Boom. So that looks brilliant, and I can think of all sorts of interesting outcomes that we could have for that. If I was to change this maybe to lettering, because this is actually a letter. Letter form, and instead of let's keep it a bit more simple, just say Mayan temple in bright letter form. No tourists, because they never appear, do they? And then let's go and see what that looks like. And that's the outcome. So this is actually from a thumbnail that I created. So it's the 7950 XTXT 3D. It's kind of working with the lettering to produce a very interesting result there. So you can play around with depth maps that you've got already, or you can create depth maps using things like the Midas depth map. A little bit of intelligent guesswork does go a long way, and you can use these control nets to produce all kinds of interesting images. What I'm going to suggest is maybe go down to Canva, download a few images that you want to play around with, some scribbles, some things that would have good depth information in them, and then just play around with it, see what sort of results that you get.